Hey y'all, and welcome to my channel. Today we have a pretty fun video planned. We are going to be trying the Colourpop Pretty Fresh Hydrating Foundation. Funny story, I technically already filmed this, so it's more of like a second impressions than a first impressions. I did it with the intention of doing a wear test, but I put it on at like 9 at night. And I took it off like 3 hours later. I don't know why I thought that that would work or what was going on in my head. So I thought that we would do a second impressions with it and wear it pretty much all day. It's just about 1 o'clock right now. So I'm gonna put it on, see if I still like it, because I did like it in my first impressions, and kind of go from there. Now, one thing I will say is that the shade is too light. I didn't think about buying for my summer skin, because in the summer, as you can probably see, I get very freckly. I'm a ginger, it just happens. I get really freckly in the summertime. So usually I have to go with a darker foundation so that it doesn't look so odd on my skin. But I can make it work. I could bronze it up a little bit, and I ended up making it work the last time I tried it. So I have hope, but just while I'm putting it on, you're gonna notice it's very pale for my skin, and trust me, I know. I just didn't think I would use this whole bottle in the summer right now because, you know, we're wearing masks and I'm not wearing makeup to work as much. So like, I didn't think I'd use it up in the summer. So part of me was like, oh, just buy your regular shade. But then I didn't think about how it would look in the meantime. But anyways, that's enough about the shade. Let's just jump into putting it on. So like I said, I've already worn it once and I really enjoyed it. I will say, this is the Hyaluronic Hydrating Foundation. And to be hydrating, they do have hyaluronic acid in it, which is phenomenal. My skin loves that stuff. But it also has coconut in it, which my skin doesn't love that much. I have a little bit of an irritation / allergy to it. I do notice it the first couple minutes that it's on my skin, it feels a little bit itchier than usual, but I wouldn't say like irritated, I wouldn't say uncomfortable. I can just feel that there's something coconut on my face. But after like a couple of minutes that goes away. And once I washed it off, I had it on for about 3 hours, I washed it off and my skin was totally fine. Like I didn't break out from it, I had no redness from it. So it seemed to work out pretty good. So let's get another shot. Something that I did learn from the last time that I put it on is that I definitely prefer applying it with a sponge, and that you definitely don't want to powder too much. Too much powder on top of this does look kind of icky. So I'm hoping that this time around I don't do that, I don't over powder. So let's just go in and give it a shot. So I'm just gonna put like a pump and a half. I always wipe the extra on my face, I don't know why I do that. But I'm gonna put like a pump and a half here, down on what I work off of, which is just a powder I don't like, to be honest with you. I have my beauty blender cleaned, damp, and ready, and I just like to dot it on my face. I'm just gonna move my mirror a little closer here. Okay, and I'm just going to dab it on my face. I also think I just put too much of it on last time. It kind of like caked up a little bit. But I don't think that that was the foundation. I think I put like almost 2 pumps last time. And I just don't think that, like, even a pump and a half, like there's still so much left on this. That's how much I have on my face already. So like even a pump and a half I think is like borderline too much. And I have a tiny face, but still. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go with my beauty blender. I'm gonna get a little bit on the sponge. This is a great tip for not wanting it to take off too much of what you've already laid down on your face. If you're like me and you put it on your face and then go with a blender, versus putting it straight on from whatever you're working off of, this is a great tip to make sure that what you've applied onto your face doesn't get soaked up by the blender by getting product already soaked into it. So I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna blend this in. Now the first thing that I definitely noticed was that it's a medium coverage claim, and I definitely agree with that, again because I got the wrong shade. You can see my freckles through it because my freckles are a lot darker than the foundation is, but that's just normal for me. Like you can see my freckles through basically any foundation that I wear. That's just kind of part of having freckles. But I will say It actually blends beautifully. If you don't have freckles, I don't think that you would see much through the foundation that you wouldn't want to be seen. You can build it up by adding more, but again, I didn't like the way that it built, but I put a lot on. Like I went in with like almost 2 pumps on the first layer, and then blended it pretty like thin, and then I added on like another half of a pump, which kind of caused too much caking in some areas. So I've learned my lesson. I'm just gonna blend this onto the ears. Now it blends really quick. Like I'm happy with that. I could probably end there, but because of who I am as a person, I'm just gonna kind of keep blending. I'm one of those people that blends and blends and blends. But it blends beautifully and it feels almost like I'm not wearing anything on my face. I will say that this time around, my skin actually doesn't feel that irritated by the coconut, which is really nice. But yeah, I can barely feel on my face. It's really, really nice. I'm going to get a mirror, a hand mirror, so I can see kind of up close what I think and kind of blend the rest. Ugh, I need to do my brows. Okay, I'm happy with that. So I'm gonna get in just a little bit closer for you guys to see. So this is what it looks like on right now. You can definitely see the glow. It's definitely a hydrating foundation, but it doesn't feel sticky like most hydrating foundations would. So, I mean, overall, I'm really happy with it. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go put on the rest of my makeup, finish up my face, see how products layer on top of it. And then once it's done, I'll come back, kind of give you the rest of my thoughts about the way that things went on top of it, how things blended, all that good stuff. And then I'm gonna wear it for the day, and I'll do a couple of different check-ins. I know I do have to go to Dollarama, so I will be wearing a mask. So that's a good test to see how it lasts. But for the most part, I'm not really doing much else today. So I'll see you in a little bit with my final thoughts before moving into check-ins. So see you in a minute. Okay, so this is my finished makeup look today. It's nothing too crazy or too fancy. I did go a little heavy on the brows. It is what it is. Y'all have been there with me. But what I will say is that every product blended beautifully on top of this foundation. So I'm gonna come back in closer again and just show you. That is everything after. My concealer blended beautifully. Powders went on great. My bronzer blended better than most days. Everything looks great on top of it. I did powder, but I went in with a damp beauty blender, which I prefer to do when I notice that a foundation can kind of cake with powder or looks funky on powder. I usually go with a damp beauty blender because I find that that helps really fuse it with the foundation, and that kind of worked. Now, one thing I will warn you of with this foundation, if you have lines on your face, my recommendation is to pat them out and then powder them, and then they should be fine. But I didn't do that the first time I wore it, and I did find that it settled in the lines just a little bit, like not a deal breaker, not that bad. But if that is something that happens to you and bothers you, just tap it out with your finger or with your beauty blender or whatever. Go in immediately with powder, and I think that you'll be perfectly fine. Again, I only wore it a couple hours last time, so we'll know in a couple of hours and at the end of the day when I'm done if that actually is true. But overall, this is what it looks like right now. I'm really enjoying it already. I like the way that it looks on my skin. I like the way that it feels on my skin because it barely feels like anything at all. So we'll see what it's like. So the first check-in will be in a couple of hours. By that point, I probably would have already been to Dollarama, so we'll be able to see what it's like after I wear a mask out in public. But other than that, I'll see you in a little bit. All right, y'all, first check-in. I am back. It is, honestly, I'm not sure what time right now, almost 5 o'clock, so it's been on for a little less than 4 hours right now. I have put this foundation through it already today. Like, right now I'm in my bedroom instead of my usual makeup room because I want to show you guys a natural lighting, kind of what the foundation's looking like, but I have put it through quite the stunts today. First, I wore a mask. I went out a couple of times and wore a mask. It's pretty hot. I was wearing sunglasses. Usually that melts foundation right off my face. Then I cried a bunch. That's a long story we won't get into. But yeah, I've really put this foundation through it already, and it's only been on for like 4 hours. I will say the mask and the sunglasses didn't affect it as much, but I was really careful with the sunglasses so that it wouldn't melt it away too much. I wanted to give it a fair chance. But I will just get a little bit closer here so you can see around my nose. I don't know, there, maybe you can see it now. Around my nose, it's like really started to rub off. Which is fine. Like I said, I've been crying, so I have been wiping my nose. And there's a little bit on the corner here. I don't know if you can tell that it's like discolored a little bit, but it has wiped off a little bit. Also just probably because of the wiping and the mask and stuff like that. It is starting to kind of break apart a little bit on my nose, but I took a beauty blender that's still like, it was my damp one from 4 hours ago, so it's still a little something something. Stamped it on my nose, and that seemed to help it a little bit, which is really all I need in a foundation, like, especially when it's not a foundation that claims to be a long wear, because this one doesn't claim to be a long wear foundation that I'm aware of. You know, when it doesn't claim to be long wear, as long as I have the option to kind of like make it look fresh again throughout the day, I don't really care, you know. I think that's pretty good. So far so good. I am having very spicy chili for dinner, so we'll see. Maybe I'll sweat some off, you know, we'll kind of see what goes on. But yeah, I will see you in a couple of hours from now for probably one last final check-in. All right, y'all, it is like only 9:30. Today has felt like the longest day ever. But I'm ready to end my day. I have Drag Race to watch. If anybody is out there watching Canada's Drag Race, it is Thursday. It is time for me to watch it. Go Jimbo. Let's get back to the makeup. I'm ready to take it off of my face. I'm over wearing it today, but I wanted to give my last check-in and my final thoughts. So let's just say how much I've put this foundation to the test today, okay? I have cried. I have worn a mask out in public with my makeup on. I mowed the lawn and did yard work and sweat like a crazy person. Ate super spicy food for dinner, and I ate it really messy and had to wipe all over my face. I let my dog lick my face, forgetting I was wearing makeup. I consistently rubbed my face, forgetting I was wearing makeup. So after all of that, I still haven't even looked. I'm going to look at the foundation and see how I feel about it all. So the places I was rubbing the most were my chin and my nose. And my chin and my nose are the first places that always break out, or not break out, but break down. And it really starts to just sort of like break apart and get icky, which it did, but I don't think it was the foundation's fault. I truly think it was my fault. Overall, the longer I wore it, the more that I liked it. I'm gonna get a little bit closer for y'all here. I'll turn down the lights and see if you can see it better. Okay, so I'm gonna get closer here. See if you can see, like, it's broken apart, like on my nose a little bit and on my chin a little bit. But overall, it's worn really, really nicely. So, I mean, I really enjoy this foundation. I don't know if I'll reach for it as like my everyday go-to, because like, you know, once I'm wearing makeup to work again, you know, I have an 8-hour day of work, and then I have, you know, however many hours of doing stuff after on days that I'm social. And so like, I don't know how it would last more than 8 hours. I've only been wearing it about 8 hours, but it's wearing really nice so far. It doesn't claim to be a long wear foundation, and for a foundation to not claim to be long wear and to last through everything I've put this foundation through, and to do it looking nice the whole time, I mean, I really like can't complain. And for the price point of this foundation, like that's freaking phenomenal. I really enjoyed it. The only thing that I really don't like about it is that like it did start to break apart a little bit. But again, I can't even say that I totally blame that on this foundation. So I mean, overall, like I give it like an 8 out of 10. Really enjoy it. Would totally recommend it. Yeah, go out, buy it if you want it. If you don't buy it. But that's the video. So thank you guys for coming along with me for the day and seeing how my makeup looked throughout the whole day. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. And you can always leave a comment down below. If you're Canadian or just a Drag Race fan and you've been watching Canada's Drag Race, leave your favorite queen below so that we can chat about the best and the worst of the season. All right. Thank you guys for coming along with me. Bye.